unfortunately, social media data also has some limitations, especially when we consider it as a data source. The first point is something that we already discussed earlier, which is the large volume of data. It may not seem like a limitation because, like, hey, more data sounds great. That's what we
Right.
should look for. But the issue is with social media, it's not always relevant. So it's important that we understand that not all data is relevant. Some of it can be noise. And it's important to segregate that out from our data set so that we get to what is actually relevant. And as what Akansha said before, going down into a rabbit hole, we may lose sight of the big picture. So sticking to your objectives, identifying what is required from this huge ocean of data is something that's important. And if you don't realize that, it can act as something that is a limitation rather than a strength. So that's the first one. Apart from that, bias. So biases can be many different forms. In social media data, there is an inherent bias in terms of the availability of the platforms itself. So not everybody has access to social media. Like if you take an example of either very small kids or very older people, they don't have access to the technology that people who are within an age range of actually using social media have. And that is the inherent bias, that you only find population of a certain age on social media platforms. This can also extend to locations, access to technology, like rural versus urban. People who don't have access to a steady internet connection will not think of sharing their day-to-day on like Instagram. They'll not share pictures. But somebody who's chronically online, somebody who's always available, is going to do much more of that. So you would have more of a bias there in terms of people who are always online, who have easy access versus people who are not. Then there are many other biases: language, age, gender. A lot of stuff comes into the picture, which that's not something we have control over because of the nature of social media itself. It's only people who have access to it can share it. But that is still a really large number compared to if you completely ignore the source.